Welcome in to the Captain's Log. I'm your host, Brandon, aka the Captain, joined all season long by my co-host, Webb. And Webb, let the people know what this show's about.
Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee.
That's right, everywhere we go, talking nothing but Memphis Showboats, right here on the Captain's Log, episode 3 of the 2025 season. Webb, how you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm excited. The season's coming real quick. I know last week you said it was 10 weeks left. Now it's 9, and it's coming by fast, man. I like it. The Super Bowl's over, and then all of a sudden it's UFL season. So I'm ready to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got a lot to talk about. The team's getting ready to go. Got some roster moves to talk about. A little controversy maybe at the end of this episode. So let's get right into it, huh?
Yeah, man. First waves, big signings this week. Nehemiah Shelton, right? He went to the Jets after playing with the Boats. And then the picture of the island, that's Mark Gilbert. Talk about your boy Nehemiah Shelton. You were the Boats guy. He was one of the first early signings, right? Last year, coming from the Boats. Wasn't he one of the early ones? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Nehemiah Shelton. He's been with the Boats the past 2 years. I believe, yeah, the past 2 years, and he's gotten a shot with the Jets after every season he's been with the Showboats. They seem to really like him. It seems like they've got him almost on a little bit of a retainer. He doesn't really start too much for us, but he's on the rotation. Good, solid depth piece to have. You know, spring football can get grueling, can get going quick. So good to have a depth piece like Nehemiah Shelton, who knows a little bit about spring ball, been around this thing a couple times. Good extra piece to have around. And like you said, Mark Gilbert coming in, that's pretty awesome. The other part of this slide is some go. You know, we also had to clear the way for a couple of these new signings, let go of, what was it, 1, 2, 5 guys. So.
Yeah, it's a big regime change. Obviously, we've seen this, especially now it's picking up a lot of steam. Bringing in a guy like Mark Gilbert, he was the best corner in the league 2 years ago in the USFL. Kind of had an up-and-down season with the Stallions. Played with the Dolphins, got hurt. He was the best corner in the league. So if he can get back to that Maulers kind of cornerback, I wore my Maulers sweatshirt today because obviously I covered them.
It's getting a little trendy.
They've got a number one corner, and that's hard to find in a league like this. And he's got good genes. You know, he's Darrell Reeves' cousin. He holds records at Duke, and I know everyone says it's Duke, but it's still they have played for 100 years of football. So the fact that he owns records for most pass deflections, interceptions in one season, it just speaks highly. And I'm super excited when this news hit today because we're filming on Saturday. I was like, man, I'm locked in. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. This, like you said, it was posted today. Shout out Larson with the breaking news on that one. It'll probably be official on Monday or Tuesday when the UFL PR posts a little thing. Yeah. And like you said, man, a top DB coming to the league. I heard of people, some of the Stallions fans, you know, claiming Mark might be a little washed.
It's that Alabama.
I'm just observing and reporting.
It's that Alabama kind of bias that they have with college football. Yeah, it just he's not with them anymore. They let him go. Now he's going to possibly their biggest rival. Probably the most improved team in the USFL conference. So I just think it's just Stallion fans being Stallion fans. That's all it is.
I feel you. He had some stuff going on last season too. You know, he had a kid during the middle of the season. Yeah. So you know, life kind of gets in the way sometimes, even when you're playing football. So
and he's
love
back
Mark
with
Gilbert.
He's back with, you know, Eli Walker, Green Bay, Boogie. He's back with familiarity. Instead of last year, they thought they were Maulers all the way into the end of December, and then all of a sudden now you got a new team and you got to figure out the coach and everything. I think he settles in and he's perfectly fine.
Love it. If we can get 90% of Maulers Gilbert, that's fine by me.
Yeah, man. Of course, the new Big Zeke, man. Big Zeke. I was excited for this one. What are your thoughts on this? I know you're not the biggest college football fan, but this has been a name that's kind of been kicking around for a couple of years with the Defensive Player of the Year for the FCS level. What are your thoughts after looking into it? I know you dig deep into these signings, every single guy. You got the best tweets in the world for Showboats. I just got a retweet because You put all you put all the work. You find video, everything. It's great stuff. So follow Brandon on Twitter. But what do you think about Big Zeke?
Yeah, I try, man. I try to let the people know because the league just puts out their little post. It's got their name, where they're from. Let's dive in a little deeper. Let's get to know these guys.
Yeah.
Zeke Vandenberg, right here, out of Illinois State, right?
Illinois State.
Yep, like you said, FCS defensive player. Finished his collegiate career with 256 tackles, 43.5 tackle for loss, 24 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a pick. Earned first team All MVFC that same year, obviously, that he was Defensive Player of the Year. Spent a little time with the Miami Dolphins, and just looks like a beast, man. Another kind of small school guy, overlooked, classic UFL. Let's get this guy.
Yeah, he definitely is. One of the cool. So I always got to try to match your effort on Twitter. So I go to try to find like a different video that you had. And the interview with Cody Mach, who plays for the Buccaneers, he said that was the best player that he played or he had to defend in college football. And that's someone that played at North Dakota State. So they played in all those championships, all that kind of stuff. And now he's in the NFL. So for him to get that shout out even a year or two later, it's just crazy. Yeah. But the biggest 43.5 tackles for loss, man, in your college career. That's just beast mode. And then I don't know how much you look into the NFL scouting, but the NFL with the combine, and they kind of grade him out, and they say what type of player, special teams player, that kind of stuff. He graded to be an average backup or a special teams player, which at this level, that's a lot of the guys are undrafted or possible practice squad guy. He's at the higher level that he's actually could be a backup in the NFL, and he grades out to that. So I'm super excited. Everyone says it's high octane, so a bunch of energy from a linebacker. You gotta love it.
Yeah, they listed him as middle linebacker.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll necessarily say. He seems like he'll just play everywhere.
Yeah, and the way they're looking, it looks like you're gonna see a lot of 4-2-4, maybe 4-2-5. I mean, you're gonna or 3-3-5. The way the roster's shaping up right now, so. He'll be on the field tackling sideline to sideline, end zone to end zone, one of those guys. So I'm all for it. Then the new targets. I know you love offense. You looked into both these guys. Which one's your favorite out of the two? If you had to pick one.
Ooh, I like Pinckney, just because I like the uniforms at Coastal. I like Coastal a lot. They look so cool. It's such a cool campus, cool everything. Very, very cool. So he gets the edge for me. And like you said, I mean, he played 2 years for the Chanticleers. Who else is a Chanticleer? You know what I'm saying? Just another notch in the Coastal Carolina tool belt. Played 26 games there, 143 receptions, 2,023 yards, 11 touchdowns, 14 yards per catch. Had the NCAA, still holds the NCAA record for consecutive games with a reception. Went 58 straight games with a catch. Most recently was with the Carolina Panthers on their practice squad. Another kind of guy like we talked about last week with the other wide receiver we talked about last week that was like a big play potential.
Yeah.
Skates from Memphis.
Yep.
And kind of reminds me of this more explosive target. You like Chris Pierce over here too. I mean, just 2 more weapons, man. You can never have enough weapons.
Yeah. So Pinckney went on the NFL.com with the scouting. They said he's an elite contested catch guy. Elite. They graded him as elite for that, which is crazy, and especially so I guess he struggled with press corners the most. As most of us know, they play a lot of zone in the UFL. So if they're not having a press corner, Pinckney might be able to eat all day, right? And especially if it's contested catches. And then Pierce, I love Pierce because I think he's going to be, you saw the tight end wide receiver. He's going to be like that H-back. And if you look at Ken Wisenhunt's offense in the past, he's always had kind of that H-back, not purely a tight end, not purely a wide receiver, not purely a running back. Think about like a Danny. He's a bigger Danny Woodhead, but a guy like that's kind of lining up right off the line of scrimmage, not in the backfield, but he's going out catching those passes. This kid looks legit. Vandy, SEC, if you're putting up numbers at Vandy, excluding this year because they were very good this year, But typically, if you're the top receiver at Vandy, SEC defenses are looking at you, and if you're able to excel, shoot, man, like that's a weapon. And when you watch the video, he looks like an NFL guy. I know a lot of these guys do, but like he looks on an SEC defense like an NFL guy, and I just don't understand why he's never been able to catch on. I honestly, that's the one guy with all these new guys that I'm like, he's got to be somewhere. He's got to be somewhere, but
this is the spot to prove it right here. Yeah. Come on, Chris.
Yeah,
utility guy, like you said, use him everywhere. Just get the ball in this guy's hand. Good things happen.
Yeah. Then we go to 2 question marks. I put the thoughts, concerns, excitement because you really don't know a lot about these guys. You pick one, I'll take the other one. Whatever you want. Kind of.
You've got Amir Riep. Yeah. One of those.
Yeah.
Ohio State Buckeye dealt with a real unfortunate incident. Had some charges brought up against him. He was acquitted of all charges, but while he was going through it, it was like a 3-year process. He had to get kicked off the Ohio State Buckeye team. Ended up beating the case. Like I said, he was acquitted of all charges and latched on to Lincoln University, the Oaklanders. Okay. A startup college football program, if you will, that played some games. If you look at their record, they didn't win a lot of those games, but Amir was a standout on that team. And it was good to see because, that legal process took 3 years, so he's out of football for 3 years. So to be able to come back like that, perform at a high level, this is one of the most questionable levels of college football. I think, that could have been out there, but regardless, he performed well. So just a wild card, like you said, thoughts, concerns, it's not like the concerns are off the field because like I said, the charges were dropped. So he's got a clean record. It's just, there's probably a stigma out there already because once something's on your record like that, it don't go away. The internet's forever.
Yeah. I think he was talented enough to stand out at Ohio State, and then the events happened. He'd probably be playing on Sunday if he just went through Ohio State and had no incident. And then James Jones, kind of a relatively unknown guy, but I will say, so spring football, a lot of times they kind of throw these rosters together, and you got to figure out like how to mesh with everyone. We just talked about Mark Gilbert and everything. Well, this kid went to 12 different schools as a kid. And that just screams he's going to be fine for spring football with different – and he's a coach's son. His dad actually coached Boogie Roberts in college. He's a 3-star, so he's super talented. But for someone that can succeed through the Air Force Academy and on the football field and go through 12 different schools, he's able to – kind of mesh with any kind of situation. So I think both these guys have a lot to prove, and I'm interested to see because they're both DBs. It seems like we're DB heavy, and that might be one of the roster spots where the camp is really going to be kind of because you got some of the old guys, some of the new guys meshing together. The camp battles. This is one to watch, and these are 2 guys that you kind of go into it and you kind of don't have a full opinion of because, like you said, Amir played at Lincoln and then James at Air Force. So,
yeah. I was trying to find anything about James. Anything. Yeah. But, he's at a military academy, obviously, Air Force. So, if nothing else, the man's disciplined. The man knows how to stay on the grind, how to stay on his P's and Q's. You don't have to micromanage this kid at all.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, bounced around, had to fit in everywhere. Sounds like a typical glue guy. You need a few glue guys in the locker room.
Yeah, definitely. All right, you ready for question of the week?
Oh, okay. What we got? Yacht Club, where we at? Oh.
I'm kind of switching up. I forgot to ask Yacht Club for a question this week. We're kind of most of you might know, but I live in the southeast Georgia. We got snow for the first time in 6 years. Schools have been closed. It's been kind of a hectic week. I've been working from home, so it's it's a different week, so I didn't ask. My apologies, Memphis. But we want to know your comments. Leave a comment here on the YouTube channel. Where's the next move? Like, what's the next move? Because we asked last week, and we were talking about linebacker, and they got one. Is it just quarterback? Yeah. Is it another running back? They got more receivers. They got more defensive backs. Do we need more offensive line?
Who's our punter? We got no punter.
We don't have a punter. We don't have a punter. I knows my no. But it is.
You think Skippy? Skippy, you think knows my no?
Knows my no. But leave a comment down below.
Let us know. What do we need, baby? What do we need?
Yeah, what do we need? What would you say your answer is to this?
I don't know. Give me Trace McSorley. Throw it on a dime, number 9. Bring out the music video. Shout out Marty.
Yeah, it's quarterback. It's quarterback number 3. It definitely is.
Need it. You have to have one. Yeah. So and punter close second.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't think Coughlin's going to be able to do both. Maybe you save that roster spot. He figures that out. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That kind of ties in. We both said kind of quarterback number 2 outside of the punter, or quarterback number 3. Our QB rankings. Are you ready? Because this is going to be our first episode. We're kind of disagreeing. We're not just covering the news. We're going to be disagreeing. You ready?
All right. Let's do battle.
The Cap speaks. Explain yourself.
All right. Quarterback rankings. Here we go. Let me just tell you, this is how I approach these ones right here. This is what I think will be the layout next year when we look back. Hey, these were the top 10 performing quarterbacks in the UFL. Obviously, there's only 8 teams, so, you got a couple extra options in here, a backup or 2 that might not see the field, but it's fun to play with. A little shake-up this week, big shake-up this week. I had my rankings. I had to redo this one a couple times. Alex Magoo was re-signed this week as a wide receiver. I mean, come on, not as a wide receiver. The Green Bay Packers moved him to wide receiver because the dude's an athlete, all right? And he's an athlete playing quarterback for the Birmingham Stallions. He's got Skip Holtz. He was the USFL MVP. I don't know. Is the talent much better in the UFL compared to what he faced in the USFL when he won MVP handedly and was easily the best player in the league at all times? Yeah, the talent's a lot better. 2 leagues folded. I think he'll still have enough success, and I think Skip Holtz is still there. He's got continuity. A lot of the same weapons are still there that he was throwing to the Sternbergers of the world. So Alex Magoo is primed for another MVP level season in my eyes. You got Luis Perez, number 2 in Arlington, the King of Spring. What else needs to be said? I mean, he was not the problem in Arlington at all. Is it his fault? He was in a lot of shootouts, and maybe he was in a lot of garbage time situations. No, his defense let him down a lot, but Luis always kept that team in the game. He's a spring league grizzled veteran at this point. If nothing else, you could trust Luis Perez to win you some football games. Matt Corral, straight to another Birmingham Stallion. Kill me for it. At first, before Magoo was announced, I already had 2 Birmingham Stallions on my list. I had Jamar Smith. Okay, shout out Jamar. I don't think he gets enough respect for what he's done, and he's been around for so long. I like Jamar, but Matt Corral makes the list at number 3. I think hopefully, for the sake of the league, he gets out of Birmingham and goes somewhere else. Wink, wink. Maybe somewhere else. Maybe something can happen. Maybe somewhere else. But I think Matt Corral will be successful in this league. He sat on the bench pretty much all last year. Played in a couple games. When he did play, he seemed pretty damn good. I think after spending a year in the Skip Holtz system over there, that's where quarterbacks go to get a lot better. Offenses are much better over there. So I like Matt Corral. And then Kellen Mond, San Antonio Brahma's new quarterback, played at Texas A&M, has San Antonio ties. A.J. Smith and that offense is pretty damn good. He's very, very good at scheming guys open. That's very quarterback friendly. So I think Kellen Mond is poised to have a pretty good season coming up for his debut. And I think he's going to be on an NFL roster next year, at least in training camp. Number 5, Bryce Perkins out of Michigan, just an athlete. It's unfortunate. We've seen him on the bench a lot. And when he does get into play, he tries to hurdle a guy, breaks his leg. But it's a really cool picture. It's a very cool picture. Before he broke his leg, he hurdled this guy so beautifully, man. You thought he had it. If Mike Nolan would start this, man, I think the Michigan Panthers would be a real threat. But I don't know. I don't know why Mike Nolan doesn't start Bryce Perkins. Hopefully, this is the year that Bryce Perkins is QB1. I think he's earned it. He's been with the Panthers a couple years now. He should be familiar with that system with Mike Nolan, and he's an athlete. That's what we need in spring football from your quarterback. The offensive line isn't going to be that good, so you got to make plays. Another new guy stepping up, Max Duggan at number 6 for the Battlehawks. Another guy kind of like Kellen Mond, not in the sense that he's just like Kellen Mond, but like he's going to a good situation. The offense in St. Louis is another one that's quarterback friendly, got a lot of good weapons, got a pretty good run game. So I think Max Duggan is ready for a good year. Like a lot of people are saying that. Number 7, a Springling vet, Jordan Teamu, that I'm about over at this point. DC is running it back. They're running it back with that DC Defender squad from the XFL Championship. They got Jordan Teamu and Abram Smith, hoping to rekindle that magic. I just think if Abram Smith goes down again, which we hope he doesn't because he's electric to watch, fun to watch, it's good for the league when Abram Smith is on the field. But if he goes down, if something happens to the offensive line in DC, Teamu's going to crumble. He needs that RPO to survive. And if he doesn't have it, I don't think he's the most accurate guy in the league. Number 8, had to put at least one Memphis guy on here, right? Shout out. It's the captain's log. So give me Quentin Dormady, who I think is the quarterback 1 for right now. Getting some work in with Jordan Palmer, same as Troy Williams. So love to see that. Love to see the boys getting in some extra work. But he's one of those guys. He's serviceable. So Quentin Dormady's right there, spring league veteran. And then 9 and 10 are some fun ones right here. Okay, Arlington Renegades, you got Luke Lennon, the Division III gamer, just an absolute weapon at quarterback. Could be something like a Lindsey Scott replacement maybe for these fun little packages that Bob Stoops likes to do, because Luis Perez ain't giving up that QB1 spot. And number 10, another kind of athlete guy new to the league that could be fun if Max Duggan struggles in St. Louis, Chevon Cordero. Went to Hawaii, Rainbow Warrior, shout out, Big Oos. So I think he's a gritty guy. He could get in there. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about him, but Luke Lennon and Chevon, those are my fun picks right there. I think if Arlington, Luis Perez, something happens, or Max Duggan struggles, I think those guys could be pretty fun little replacements.
So basically, the top 7, we kind of, I'll go to mine, but the top 7, we agree on the names, just not the order. 8, okay. 8 is.
Tell me why what we got? What's wrong with mine first before you go with yours?
All right. So number 1, I'm going Max Duggan, the most competitive football league in the world.
This guy, big horned frog,
is the NFL, right? Well, the number 2 is the NCAA football. He took a team of a lot of transfer portal guys, so not guys that he built up with, and he took them, TCU, to the national championship, which they have been terrible since he's left. I think he's been in the NFL room. I think he's super talented. You said he's a quarterback-friendly system. I think he's the number 1 without a doubt. I think that Beck had an opportunity.
Without a doubt.
I think Beck had a connection with him already. And kind of the A.J. McCarron, who didn't want to leave, kind of got, hey, we're bringing this guy in, and this is our guy. 2, Jordan Teamu. I know I covered D.C. You said Abram Smith, man. You said Abram Smith. And their offense is RPO, run-pass offense. Well, if you can't run the ball, if no one respects your running back, the quarterback is going to be very, very, very average. And that's what Teamu was last year. The year before, when they could run the ball, he was the XFL Offensive Player of the Year. Number 3, Kellen Mond. I agree with you 100%. This is the one guy, and Josh is going to hear this and get all excited. This is the one guy that I think will be in the NFL next year, just like you said. I think A.J. Smith's a perfect offense for. It's scary how good he probably could be in that system, because he was good in college. Chase Garbers was very average in college. He was good in college. He's been around the NFL, and now he's going to this pass offense. It's
Vaughn's
only
a name for a reason.
Kellen's going to be good. Bryce Perkins, Mr. Excitable. Like every time he got in the game, just like you said, Michigan. The reason why he's lower because I don't trust that he's going to play all the time. I just I just have this feeling they got I think they're the only team with 4 quarterbacks right now. Like they still don't have an idea of what they have. Bryce Perkins been in the NFL before he came to Michigan, and then he led them on kind of a playoff chase, even though, Houston and Memphis really weren't chasing much, but they clinched the playoff. Alex McGough at 5. I am known as the Stallions hater. I will proudly wear that badge. But the 2 years off and kind of playing, 2 NFL seasons off and playing wide receiver in Green Bay, I feel like it could take a step back. I could be these next 2 are the ones that I could be completely off, and I'm fine with being completely off, but I'm going to take the risk and just kind of put him here. Luis Perez, it's kind of the Brady rules. It's the LeBron rules. He's been around forever. Eventually, he's got to fall off, right? So I'm taking the guess that he drops just a little bit. That's all I'm saying. 7, Matt Corral. Honestly, if Magoo is without a doubt number 1, Matt Corral might not be on this list by the end of the year because the way Magoo played 2 years ago. It's not Adrian Martinez who's kind of running around. Magoo was on fire. So if I'm wrong about Magoo being a top quarterback right now, like where he ends up being number 1, we might not see Matt Corral. So this list might not have him on the list just based off of talent or scouting report, maybe, but that's it. Number 8, Troy Williams. He's my guy. He's my horse in this fight right now with the 2 quarterback. Athletic, he's a gamer, he's a winner. I think if you surround him with a little bit of talent, I think Memphis was a mess last year, especially on offensive line. I think you give him an offensive line and a little bit of running. I think Troy Williams can manage to get you in the playoffs and lead you on a couple of wins. Heck, he took the Maulers offense with John Tomlinson calling plays to the USFL championship.
Shout out, John.
Number 9, Nolan Henderson. I'm going to be honest with you. I just felt like Houston needed someone on one of our lists.
Hey, good for you. I had none.
You took the fun names, and I was like, oh yeah, there's one more, and that's my number 10. But I was like, Houston needs. He's the guy in Houston, I guess. He's the one. I know they brought in McClendon. Well, they're bringing in McClendon, which kind of tells me that maybe he's not. But Henderson's got to be the starter at the beginning. Hopefully CJ selects one and stays one and doesn't change it based off of feelings. I don't know. And then number 10, Rocky Lombardi. Michigan's backup quarterback, or one of the 4 quarterbacks. But he got recruited to Michigan State, so obviously he's talented. Relatively athletic score. You quoted that, I think, every episode at least once. He has elite speed for a quarterback. So a guy that grades out to elite speed, I think, can be a lot of fun, especially if they start tailoring that offense to kind of Bryce Perkins, Rocky Lombardi, that speed, and they're not worried about the passing quarterback as much. Like what was the old guy? EJ Perry. I know EJ moves around a little bit, but he's a little bit more. EJ Perry. They love EJ Perry. And Lewerke and all that. Like Lombardi, if they start going to like Perkins and Lombardi, where like it's kind of a faster paced offense where the quarterback can move around, I think you can see Rocky on this list. But where did I go wrong, man? Tell me where my biggest miss. Go ahead.
I don't like Te'amu that high. I was Tampa Bay Bandits way long ago in a past life, and he was our quarterback. He was the USFL touchdown leader. Wow, cool. Ooh, didn't get into the playoffs, so that didn't even matter. But what he also led the league in was interceptions. So, if like you said, if Abram Smith's good, Te'amu will be just fine. The Luis Perez disrespect is wild. Alex McGough disrespect is expected at this point. You don't want to give Birmingham anything. Troy Williams, look, it could have been either Memphis quarterback. Yeah. It could have been either one at this point. Like you said, we're still kind of looking for QB1. Rocky Lombardi's got a tough climb. He's like QB4 right now. He's got Piss Missile Perry in front of him. Okay, Mike Nolan loves EJ Perry. Okay, Bryce Perkins can't even see the field because EJ Perry is in Michigan. Yeah. So. Shout out Rocky Lombardi. He's got a great name, so I do love that.
Yeah, I like I said, Alex McGough is probably the one that I can completely miss or look like a genius. I really can because if he plays like USFL, he's number one without a doubt. But I wasn't going to go there yet. You got to earn it a little bit. With me, you've been gone too long.
I feel you. Yeah. Hey, he's an athlete. Dude was playing wide receiver scout team. I mean, what do you want from him?
Exactly.
So he's got to work with the quarterback to see what the quarterback wants. He's a wide receiver, but he played quarterback. So he sees the game through the eyes of a quarterback.
I got you. That's another episode.
Whoever Memphis gets will be number 2.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy that we both put the Memphis quarterback at 8 and different names. Like, we had the top 7, we just disagreed on the number, and then all of a sudden, oh, here's Memphis, and then Houston, I kind of just threw in there to be polite to Ace for one episode. That was nice. So, yeah. But that was good, man. We'll do it again next week. Hopefully more signings, more bigger. Like, it gets – hopefully Gilbert is a big signing for me personally. Hopefully we get some coaches. Hopefully – but big news.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. But go Boats.
It's coming together. Yes, sir. Go Boats.